Mm. Whew. Hey, beautiful people. So before we get into today's episode, I want to give you just a little preview of what's in store. So, in a world where we're constantly bombarded with external pressures and expectations, it's more important than ever to take responsibility for our own self-care. And one of the most empowering ways to do this is by setting and honoring boundaries. Yeah, boundaries are the lines that we draw to protect ourselves from being overwhelmed or disrespected or taken advantage of. They help us maintain a healthy balance in our lives, and they allow us to prioritize our own needs and well-being. And by setting and honoring these boundaries, we're not only protecting our peace, but we're also sending a powerful message to ourselves and to others that we value ourselves and deserve to be treated with respect. So in today's episode, we'll explore various aspects of setting boundaries, from understanding their importance to learning how to communicate them effectively. We'll also discuss the challenges we may face in honoring our own boundaries, and I'll share tips with you on how to stand firm in your decisions, even when it's tough. So, this episode is a must listen to for anyone looking to improve their self-care, and really if they're looking to innovate or cultivate a sense of inner peace. But before we start, I do have a question for you. Did you know that 75% of people judge a company's legitimacy solely based on the way that it looks? Yeah, I'm talking about its aesthetic appearance. And that's why I'm excited to have THT, or Thing Hat Thing, as our sponsor. Now, they specialize in design and web development and marketing, and they partner with small and medium-sized businesses to make sure that they have a stunning digital presence. You see, at THT, they believe digital marketing and all its components should be easy and effective. In other words, their job is to make you look good so you can focus on what you do best, and that's running your business. So, if you are ready to take your business to the next level, contact Thing Hat Thing, or THT, at thtcreative.com. That's thtcreative.com. Contact them today, all right? So let's jump into today's episode on taking responsibility for our own boundaries. How do we set them, and how do we honor them? All right, let's go. This is about the journey, your journey. What's your purpose? All right, so let's talk about boundaries. So let's begin by exploring the concept of boundaries. See, boundaries are the limits that we set for ourselves and for others to maintain a healthy sense of personal space, self-worth, and a sense of well-being. There are several types of boundaries that can impact our lives, and it's important to recognize and establish each one of them. So let's do that. So first, we have physical boundaries, which pertain to our personal space and body. Now, this can include preferences on touch, proximity, and privacy. Now, emotional boundaries, on the other hand, relate to our feelings and emotions, and they help us manage how much emotional energy we give or receive, as well as protect us from emotional manipulation or abuse. Next, we have mental boundary, which really encompasses our thoughts and beliefs and values. And by setting mental boundaries, we can maintain our intellectual integrity and avoid being swayed by other people's opinions or expectations. And lastly, there are time boundaries. Now, these help us manage our time effectively, and they allow us to prioritize our needs and maintain a healthy work-life balance, if that's such a thing anymore. But I'll tell you, boundaries play a crucial role in our self-care. They help us maintain our mental and emotional health. They protect our energy, and they ensure that we're nurturing our own needs and desires. Now, when we have clear and healthy boundaries in place, we're better equipped to navigate the complexities of life and maintain our sense of self. So let's talk a little bit more about setting boundaries. And I'm going to share with you some examples to kind of illustrate each type, okay? So when it comes to physical boundaries, think about how you feel when someone stands too close to you in the line at the grocery store. It makes you feel really uncomfortable, right? Kind of creepy. And, an example of emotional boundaries, just imagine if you have a friend who constantly leans on you for your emotional support, but never seems to be there when you need them. Or let's look at mental boundaries. Let's say you're passionate about protecting the environment or environmental conservation, but your new friend group doesn't share your same values, and they try to get you to change your beliefs or your values and your opinions. And let's also look at time boundaries. Now, time boundaries can be tricky, especially in our fast-paced world. So picture this. You've just finished a long day at work, and your boss asks you to stay late for an urgent project, but you know it can wait until tomorrow, and you've already made plans with your family. Yeah, see, that's a time boundary. But in a nutshell, setting and honoring your boundaries is like building your own home. See, you're going to make certain that it's comfortable, that it's secure, and that it's safe for you. So establishing physical, emotional, mental, and time boundaries helps you to create that safe space for personal growth. And it helps to live a big, full, authentic life on purpose. And always remember this. It's not selfish to prioritize your own well-being. It is the foundation for purposeful and fulfilling living. But I want to share this important point with you as well. Sometimes people may try to make you feel guilty about setting and honoring your own boundaries. They might say things to you like, you're being selfish, or why can't you just help me out just this one time? You see, it's crucial to remember that your boundaries are valid and you have the right to prioritize your own well-being. And in these situations, stand firm in your decision and remind yourself that maintaining healthy boundaries is essential for both your mental and emotional health. Don't let others manipulate you into compromising and making you feel that it's selfish. It's not selfish. It's self-care. So by respecting your limits, you're also setting an example for others and empowering them to set their own boundaries as well. When I was young, I remember my mother used to tell me all the time, people will treat you the way that you treat yourself. And at the time, I didn't really understand what she meant. But now I can see the wisdom in her words. Yet what she was trying to teach me at that time was that people will treat you the way that you teach them to treat you. If you don't set and honor your own boundaries, no one else will either. And what will end up happening is that you'll end up with a set of weak or poorly defined boundaries. Because even if you say that you don't have boundaries, believe me, you do. And you'll know it as soon as those boundaries are crossed. You see, that lesson has stayed with me throughout my life and actually has been instrumental in me shaping my approach to self-care and personal growth. By respecting and enforcing our own boundaries, we're also setting an example for how others should treat us. So it's a powerful lesson that can change the way we interact with others and how we even view ourselves. So always remember to set and honor your boundaries, because the foundation for living a big, full, authentic life is about standing strong in your decisions. And don't let others make you feel guilty about prioritizing your own well-being. See, by doing so, you're teaching people how to treat you with respect, and you're teaching people to give you the care and respect that you deserve. So how do we know if we have weak or poorly defined boundaries? Well, some signs to look out for And these are, just general signs to look out for, but they also could include having feelings of being overwhelmed or drained or having difficulty saying no or constantly seeking validation from others or feeling taken advantage of. Now, if you notice any of these signs, it may be time to reassess your boundaries and make some changes. So let's look at something. Consider your social life. If you find yourself always accommodating others' schedules and going along with their preferences, but your friends and family rarely ever reciprocate that, it might be a sign that you need to establish stronger boundaries. For instance, if you're always the one traveling to see them or agreeing to activities that you don't really enjoy, it's time to speak up and express what your preferences are. So let's take a look at your personal space, okay? If you find that people often borrow your things without asking or invade your privacy, it could indicate that your physical boundaries need some reinforcement. Another sign of weak boundaries is feeling guilty for taking time for yourself. If you struggle with setting aside time for self-care, like exercising or hobbies, because you feel obligated to attend to others' needs, it's a clear indication that you need to work on establishing time boundaries. And lastly, if you find yourself constantly agreeing with others' opinion, even when they contradict your own beliefs, it may be a sign that your mental boundaries need to be strengthened. So if any of these examples resonated with you, it's a good time to reassess your boundaries and take the necessary steps and make the necessary adjustments. Just remember, setting and maintaining healthy boundaries is a continuous process, but it's essential for living a fulfilling life. So now that we have a better understanding of what boundaries are and their importance, let's talk a little bit about how we can set and maintain healthy boundaries in our lives. So let's dive into setting healthy boundaries, okay? So this process is essential for self-care and personal growth. And it starts with some self-reflection, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, some cognac or tequila or whatever gets you there. But I want you to take a moment to think about something. I want you to think about what makes you feel uncomfortable or what makes you feel overwhelmed or disrespected in different areas of your life. And keep this in mind that your boundaries are unique to you, and it's important to embrace and honor your individual needs. Now, once you've identified those boundaries, it's time to let others in on them, okay? So when communicating about your limits, be clear, be assertive, be serious, and be respectful. Remember, you have every right to set boundaries, and others should be aware of them. You see, I believe in open communication because open communication helps prevent confusion and it nurtures healthy relationship. Now, one more important thing to remember is that you'll want to balance the concept of being flexible and firm when you're talking about setting boundaries. You may need to adapt to your circumstances because things change. So stay open to reassessing your limits, but don't lose sight of your core values and needs. You see, this balance keeps you adaptable while safeguarding your well-being. So let's go over some more examples of healthy boundaries in different areas of life. In relationships, you might express your need for alone time, like taking a walk by yourself or having a quiet evening just to recharge. Or at work, setting boundaries could mean sticking to your designated lunch break or discussing your workload with your manager when you feel overwhelmed. Or when it comes to social situations, you can set boundaries by letting friends know which topics you'd rather not discuss or deciding how long you'll stay at a gathering. You see, in the end, the secret to Setting healthy boundaries is knowing your personal limits and communicating them effectively. As you become more comfortable with setting and maintaining boundaries, you'll notice an improvement in your sense of self and well being. So go ahead and embrace the art of setting boundaries. It's a game changer for living that big, full, authentic life. All right? So now that we've covered setting healthy boundaries, let's talk about how to honor them with some real life examples. You see, it's crucial to recognize when your boundaries are being crossed and to take the appropriate action to maintain them. So picture this. A close friend, you know that friend, that always turns to you for emotional support, but they never seem to be there when you need a shoulder to lean on. And so you're feeling drained and overwhelmed, which signals that your emotional boundaries are being crossed. So to address this, you could have an honest conversation, saying something like, listen, I care about you, but I feel overwhelmed when I'm constantly providing support and I'm not receiving any in return. Listen, I'd like us to have a more balanced relationship. Now, they can either honor and respect that, or if they don't, you have to decide, is this a situation I want to continue with? How, where, and when you enforce your boundaries is 100% up to you. And if your friends don't respect your boundaries, I would argue that they may not be your friends. So now let's consider a work situation. Your boss frequently calls you after hours and on the weekends, expecting you to handle urgent tasks. And you've set time boundaries to maintain a work-life balance, but it's not being respected. In this case, you could respond by saying, hey, I understand that, I understand that these tasks are important, but it is crucial for me to balance my work and my personal life. Can we discuss these tasks during regular working hours or find a way to plan ahead to prevent last-minute requests? Now, let me tell you this. Some of these situations are really difficult, and you do indeed have to figure out what is the best move for you. But I want you to know that it is so important for you to really have these boundaries set in place and for you to assert them. All right? So let's move on to mental boundaries. So I was recently having a phone conversation with a friend on the phone, and it was a really heavy conversation. And he was saying something to me that I believed was so illogical and improbable that there was no way that anyone who had just a simple sense of what was real would have even believed it. So I asked him, I was like, hey, let's not talk about that. But he kept going. And I said to him again, hey, man, we really don't need to talk about this right now. And he kept going. And I ended up completely going off because he was trying to convince me to believe something or believe a perspective that was so far-fetched that no adult with any ability to reason at all would ever state it as a fact. And so I went off so bad that I ended up apologizing. And I realized what I should have done when he repeatedly ignored what I was saying about let's move on to the next thing. What I should have did was I should have gotten off the phone. I should have ended the conversation, but I didn't. And not only did I potentially offend a friend, but I also disturbed my own peace. It is truly our own responsibility to protect and honor our boundaries. Now, see, this just happened just a couple of weeks ago. So I just want you to know that growth is a continuous process, okay? And as the old folks say, God ain't done with me yet. So when you encounter like pushback from family members and friends, it's important that you hold your ground. It's important that you respectfully, but honestly and assertively push back. And the truth is, it's okay to see things differently. Your opinions are your opinions. Your beliefs are your beliefs. And honestly, if people are truly your friends, they'll respect that. So lastly, I want to remind you to practice forgiving yourself and give yourself the kindness of patience. Because as I said, it is a continuous process. And it is important that you recognize the same kindness and the same courtesy that you would extend to someone else, that you need that for yourself. You know, forgiveness is essential when it comes to maintaining boundaries as well. So let's say you set this boundary and this loved one keeps crossing it, and it's difficult to assert yourself. And so what ends up happening is you may feel bad because you felt like you stumbled. You felt like you let it go. But I really do want you to give yourself credit for the effort and continue to working on building your boundaries and setting those limits. And as you keep practicing and persevering, you'll become more adept at honoring your boundaries. And this will lead to a greater sense of peace and well-being. So keep at it and watch how it just flourishes in your life. Embracing the power of boundaries not only helps to protect our peace, but it also leads to a multitude of positive outcomes. First, setting and honoring boundaries can significantly improve our mental and emotional well-being. And by establishing clear limits, we're better able to manage stress, avoid burnout, and maintain a healthy sense of balance in our lives. Secondly, boundaries can enhance our self-esteem and self-worth. When we prioritize our needs and stand up for ourselves, we're sending a powerful message that we value our time, our energy, and our personal space. This, in turn, fosters a greater sense of self-respect and confidence. And number three, setting and honoring boundaries can lead to better relationships and communication. When we openly and respectfully communicate our limits, we create an environment of mutual understanding and respect. This helps to build a stronger connection with those around us and foster healthier relationships and more fulfilling relationships. And lastly, establishing boundaries can contribute to greater personal and professional success. By managing our time, our energy, and our resources effectively, we're better equipped to achieve our goals and realize our full potential. So as you continue your journey on self-discovery and personal growth, remember that setting and honoring boundaries is an essential part of living a big, full, and authentic life on purpose. Embrace the power of boundaries, and you'll find that you can truly live a really fulfilling life, authentically and on purpose. And so, now it's time for life hacks. So in today's episode, we discussed the importance of setting and honoring our boundaries. We also discussed different scenarios and what you can do to make certain that you are doing everything you can to protect the peace and the comfort. Remember, it's about protecting your house because it's up to you to do that. You're the only person that can. And so I want to give you a couple of tips to make that possible, okay? First, make it a habit to regularly assess your boundaries and make adjustments as needed. See, life is constantly changing, and so are our needs and priorities. And it's important to stay in tune with yourself and be willing to modify your boundaries when necessary. Second, practice saying no without feeling guilty. See, it's important to remember that your time and your energy are valuable, and you have the right to prioritize your needs. The more you practice asserting your boundaries, the easier it will become to say no when needed. Third, seek support from friends, family, or even a therapist. Boundary setting can be challenging, especially when dealing with difficult situations or relationships. Having a support system in place can provide encouragement, guidance, and a safe place to discuss your experiences. And lastly, set aside time for self-care and reflection. Taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally is essential to maintaining healthy boundaries. And on a regular basis, do things and activities that help you recharge and reflect on your boundaries and personal growth. See, by incorporating these tips into your daily life, you'll continue to grow in your boundary setting skills and create a healthier, more fulfilling life for yourself. And you see, I believe in order for information to have a real impact, it must be internalized, practiced, and applied. So I want to give you some exercises that will help you make the conversation that we just had about boundaries impactful in your own life. So let's look at 3 practical exercises that can help you with your boundary setting skills. So the first one is to try to take a boundary inventory. Take some time to reflect on your current boundaries in different areas of your life, such as work, relationships, and self-care. Write down any areas where you feel your boundaries are weak or non-existent, and brainstorm ways to strengthen them. Really focus on it and think about it. The next exercise is take the yes and no challenge. For 1 week, pay close attention to when you say yes or no in your daily interactions. Notice when you're saying yes out of a sense of obligation or guilt, rather than a genuine desire to do it. Practice saying no to requests that don't align with your values or priorities, and observe how it feels to assert your own boundaries. And lastly, try visualization and mental rehearsal. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself confidently setting and honoring your boundaries in various scenarios. Imagine yourself responding assertively and respectfully when your boundaries are challenged, and reinforce your commitment to prioritize your own well-being. You see, by practicing these growth hacks, you'll be better equipped to set and maintain healthy boundaries in your life. Remember, growth takes time and practice, so be patient with yourself as you work on these skills. And that's it. That's it for today's growth hacks. I really hope that it's meant something for you. So listen, I'd like to take the time to invite you to join the conversation, to share your experiences with setting and honoring boundaries. Hop on your favorite social media platform and use the hashtag #MyBigFullAuthenticLife. That's hashtag #MyBigFullAuthenticLife to share your stories, your insights, and your progress. And let's support and learn from each other as we continue on this journey of self-discovery and growth. Also, we have a new Facebook page. It's called, guess what? My Big Full Authentic Life. Go and sign up and follow the page. And I'll attach the link somewhere in the description of this episode, okay? So I really want us to build a community where we can learn and support each other, okay? And so if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe to the My Big Full Authentic Life podcast. And don't forget to rate and drop us a review. See, your feedback and support is important, and it's essential in helping us to reach more people and continue to provide valuable content that empowers and inspires people to live a big, full, authentic life. And I also want you to stay tuned for upcoming episodes. We're really going to explore some incredible topics coming up, and I've got some incredible guests coming that will share their experiences and their wisdom on living a big, full, authentic life on purpose. And I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this. So, as always, I am LaMondre, and I'm reminding you that, hey, if you're going to live, you might as well live on purpose. And if you're doing that, you might as well make it big, full, and authentic. Until next time, beautiful people, we'll see you.